greet Congressman Leo Prats, who is the rapporteur on this matter in the special committee, and to say that we are at this moment here right now to talk briefly about how this was put together for the final agreed text, which Congressman Leo Prats is expected to present later this afternoon, so that the text can be discussed and reviewed in the special committee. I was with the President this morning having a conversation to align what is important for Parliament and what is important for the government. Everyone knows that from the very beginning, we have tried to work in coordination with the government, trying to listen to everyone, not only the representatives of the workers, but also all the representatives of the business sector, who had the opportunity to discuss both in the Constitution and Justice Committee and also within the Special Committee, with numerous public hearings that were held both here in the Chamber of Deputies and also in all regions of Brazil. This special committee left Parliament to go to the grassroots, to listen to the people, to listen to social movements, to listen to the business sector in each region, so that with this, we would be able to create the most balanced text possible. And I want to take this opportunity to greet both Congressman Alencar Santana and Congressman Leo Prats. On their behalf, I want to greet all the members of the special committee that is dealing with the proposed constitutional amendment to reduce working hours, because they had that ability. Through the Câmara pelo Brasil program, we have traveled practically to all regions of our country to discuss this agenda of reducing working hours, which is a national agenda, an agenda that belongs to Brazilian society, and which is a demand that meets the preference of more than 70% of our population, of our society. As everyone knows, we started this discussion with issues that are non-negotiable, and we have reached the end of this work is based on these well-established and preserved pillars in what will come. Yes, it's the result of the work of this special committee, and especially the work of the rapporteur, Congressman Leo Prats. The first point is about the issue of reducing working hours. The 3 points are non-negotiable for the Chamber of Deputies, and they are also non-negotiable points for the government. And we have broad agreement on these 3 situations, which bring a new reality to Brazilian workers, both men and women. After the approval of this proposed amendment, which is also addressed in the text, but the big question, which is the issue of the transition, and after this broad negotiation, after talking with President Lula, after talking with the rapporteur, it was concluded that the rapporteur will present the text soon. It's for the working class, and it also listens to the business sector, giving time for the sectors to organize themselves. And with this, we will ensure the transition, which has been talked about a lot, that it would take so many years, and so on. But the final position of the Chamber of Deputies, in consensus with the government, is to be able to make this transition within a year. I repeat, 2 hours and 60 days after the promulgation, 2 hours plus 2 hours after 12 months. So, in my assessment, this is the big news of the day. We have a few more details that the rapporteur will bring. But before I give the floor here to Minister Seguimara and Minister Luis Marinho, I also want to say that I spoke with the President, and in the coming days we will be addressing the issue of individual micro-entrepreneurs. Today, these entrepreneurs can only employ one person with a formal contract. Our idea is to move forward, allowing these entrepreneurs to hire more people, since we are reducing the working hours. This will bring significant progress, significant especially in helping formalize employment. And we also want, within this discussion, to consider increasing the number of people who can be hired by these individual micro-entrepreneurs. Also address the adjustment of the amount for micro and small businesses, for MEIs, for individual micro-entrepreneurs. The President is receptive to this appeal we've made. It's an appeal that practically unites the whole House. We have a special committee that is dealing with this here in the Chamber of Deputies, since we already had the approval in the Senate for the adjustment of this amount. But we want to bring this together, and the text of the constitutional amendment will provide that a law will address this issue. For MEIs, both to make it easier to hire more people, as well as the possibility for us to adjust the MEI revenue cap. And this is being discussed with the economic team, with the Minister of Planning. To measure the impact, the value has not been established. We will address this in the coming days, because we can also do this gradually, not all at once, so that we are able to support the vast majority of Brazilian companies, small business owners, small entrepreneurs who, with this political decision, will not only be able to hire more people, but also raise their revenue limit. This will also be included in the constitutional text. That the bill, and probably the one from the government, which is already here in the Chamber of Deputies, we will use this bill, so that after the promulgation of the constitutional amendment, we can address each sector in a specific way, so that no sector is harmed by this change, either in the work schedule or in the reduction of working hours. So we will use the bill sent by the executive branch, by President Lula, so that we can, after the promulgation of the constitutional amendment, we can address the exceptions that may be made according to the particularities of each sector. Because we don't want this measure to, in any way, create any operational difficulties for services that each have their own specificities. So, we will have the issue of individual micro-entrepreneurs being addressed by a bill, as well as this part of the government's bill to address each sector specifically, thus ensuring that Parliament itself can make the necessary adjustments in dialogue with the sectors and with the government, so that this achievement can be an achievement of the Brazilian people, an achievement of the working class. But above all, we've already heard about all kinds of reforms here. We are perhaps making the first and most important reform for people's lives. We will have new living conditions after the approval of this proposed amendment to the Constitution, guaranteeing the working class of Brazil, the millions of workers, the mothers who are heads of households, more quality time to spend with their families, to exercise, to take care of their health, and to rest. Believing, therefore, that this will be fundamental, so that when this worker is in the workplace, we will certainly see an increase in productivity, and in the end, everyone will benefit from this change. I want to once again acknowledge the role of Congressman Alencar Santana, Congressman Leo Prats, the author of this proposal, Congressman Reginaldo Lopez, and also Congresswoman Erica Hilton. We joined the two constitutional amendment proposals, but the first Alencar PEC proposal was from Congressman Reginaldo Lopez, who is here with us. And on behalf of Ministers Luis Marinho and Jose Guimarães, I want to thank the government for the dialogue throughout this entire period. I made a point, Zé Marinho, who was with me alongside the President, to make this clear to the President, the Minister's ability to engage in dialogue with this House, with the special committee in the construction of this text. I have no doubt that the proposal presented today brings together what is the majority sentiment of the Chamber of Deputies, which is to be able to deliver this to Brazilian society. The reduction of working hours, the change in shifts, the end of the 6 days on, 1 day off work schedule, thus meeting a desire, perhaps the main desire of Brazilian society today. Thank you very much. Quickly, we are living.
I think that this week the Chamber will deliver a historic achievement, a great accomplishment for workers and Brazilians, without a doubt. And this achievement is the result of a few factors. First, the support for the popular movement, which gave momentum to this issue and to this debate from the very beginning, without a doubt. And it is a reflection of this movement, of this decision by the Chamber. And so I want to congratulate and thank President Hugo Motta, first for the initial trust in appointing me to chair this committee, but also for all the support during the committee's work and the sensitivity he showed toward the topic. Therefore, a sensitivity toward the workers, both men and women, of our country. Also, the government, right, President Lula, who from the very beginning also supported this issue, sent a bill here on an expedited basis and has a historic commitment to reducing working hours. So I think there are a number of factors. Ministers Marinho, Labor, Guimarães, political coordination, and our leader, always present in this house, are following this debate where positions have shifted. Always our leader in this house. Where is he? Here. He changed positions, but as a minister, he also followed closely and coordinated a lot. Leo, a great partner, a great friend, right, throughout all this work here in the house. Very sensitive, very dedicated, very committed, very studious, so that he can soon present this report that is so eagerly awaited by all of you here, but especially by the Brazilian people who are following along. And here I want to acknowledge the author of this brilliant and important proposal, which was Congressman Reginaldo Lopes and also Congresswoman Erin. Yesterday at Guarulhos Airport, several workers kept asking me, are you going to vote or not? It's urgent, we want it now. There was a lot of anticipation. That's why the Chamber deserves congratulations, President Hugo Motta, for the dialogue, for the understanding, for the maturity. You are handling this with great skill. Even on a topic that at first didn't seem to be so controversial, right? That could divide some opinions. But we are building something that is undoubtedly a reflection of the majority will of our people, which is the end of such a degrading, right? Such an exhausting schedule. And at the same time to secure shorter working hours. And remembering in that conversation between President Hugo Motta and President Lula, right? There was more progress, as the President announced here, for this year already 2 hours less and next year 2 more hours. In other words, a short deadline but significant, because it will guarantee better quality of life, more time for the worker, because life doesn't have overtime. Women feel this urgency, young people feel this urgency, and so do those facing such an exhausting routine. So I'm happy that as the chairman of the committee, alongside Congressman Leo Prat, of the countless hearings we've held here, listening to all sectors without exception, and having traveled through all regions of the country. Starting, of course, here in Brasilia, representing the Midwest, but we went to Paraíba for the first hearing with President Hugo Motta. We went to São Paulo. We went to Rio Grande do Sul. We went to Maranhão. Congressman Leo was there. Then we went to Minas Gerais, to Santa Catarina, and finally to Amazonas. And the last hearing was also in Rio Grande do Sul, right? So we heard from every region, and in all of them, besides the labor federations, there were business sectors present. So President Hugo Motta, what was your guidance? Everyone spoke, everyone had the opportunity to express themselves, to bring their considerations. That's why the report is so highly anticipated, and workers are set to win this major victory, right? We have no doubt that the economic sector will have a very positive result, right? Right away, and especially in the medium term, workers will be healthier, more motivated, and much more productive. And it puts Brazil in a new moment of civility, respect, and dignity in the way it treats its workers. No doubt that's why this vote we will have here in the committee, especially in the plenary, is an achievement and a cause for celebration. In the committee, the debate will start soon at 5 p.m. and in the plenary, President Hugo Motta will lead so that we can finish and conclude this process still in the month of May in honor of Brazilian workers.